So Freeway, where did you grow up exactly?
I grew up in South Central LA, right off of the 110 Freeway, which is where I got my nickname
Right
from.
by the freeway.
87th in Figueroa.
Okay. Now, if you were to describe the conditions that you grew up in terms of your family life and so forth, how would you describe it?
Well, I grew up without my father.
Okay. What happened to your dad?
My mom and my dad broke up when I was 4 months old.
Oh, okay.
So basically, my father was the streets, the big homies, guys like Tookie Williams, Raymond Washington, Cartoon, guys like that there.
Okay. So when you were growing up, as a kid, during elementary school, junior high, and so forth, were you involved in any sort of criminal activities? Or were you essentially a good kid?
I think I started doing my first petty crime maybe around the 6th grade.
Okay. What was that?
I had some friends that had been going to thrifties, and they had found out how to get watches out of the cabinet, and I went with them, and they got me a watch.
Okay.
It was my first crime.
Your first crime. Did you get caught?
No, we got away, but my mom found the watch. So I didn't get caught by the store, but I got caught. I got a whooping for it.
Okay.
My mom is really, really religious. I mean,
So she just bugged out.
yeah, man. I mean,
You couldn't explain where the watch came from, obviously.
I couldn't.
Yeah. So you did a petty crime then. After that, did you continue with more petty crimes?
No, I wanted to be a Crip then.
You wanted to be a Crip.
Yeah, I wanted to be a Crip, but my mom, my mom was still strict, and my mom didn't whoop me with switches. She used a telephone card, which today would be child abuse.
Yeah.
If they knew it, my mom would whoop you. You have whips on your butt.
Okay.
I couldn't join the Crips at that time, but just so happened, before I was old enough to start bucking my mom's rule, I started playing tennis.
Okay.
I fell in love with the game of tennis, and that took me out of South Central LA.
Okay. Now,
No.
at the time that you said you wanted to be a Crip, you had mentioned Tookie Williams. Was he already?
Yeah.
He was already part of the. Was he?
Yeah, the Crips was already going.
Was already going.
Yeah, they were already going.
They're already going. And were they trying to recruit you, or were you trying?
No. They wasn't trying
Nothing
to
like that.
recruit me.
They were good.
I wanted to be a part of what I saw.
Okay.
I saw the togetherness, the organization, and their reputation wasn't as bad as it is right now.
Okay.
This was before all the murders.
It's before the drugs.
Yeah, before drugs. So it was mostly just hanging out, maybe some fist fights, some football games, neighborhood football games, stuff like that there. But I like the togetherness, the camaraderie, the women, and so
Right.
forth.
So you got into the whole tennis thing,
Yeah.
but you weren't actually able to use tennis to get yourself out of your current situation.
Well, I did in a lot of ways, I mean, if you look at a couple of the guys that I hung with in junior high school who didn't play tennis, two of them have life sentences in the state, for murder, robbery, type of crime. And these were the guys that I hung out with whenever I could. So tennis did get me out. It didn't get me out the way I was hoping it would have, with the big mansion in Beverly Hills and, the Wimbledon Championship. It didn't get me out that way, but it did protect me in other ways that, because whenever I do something, I'll be all in.
Right.
I don't go halfway, I'm like, if this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing.
Sure.
I ain't gonna do it a little bit, I'm gonna do it a lot. And then when I look back, my brothers and sisters gangbang. So the only thing that I know that kept me from that could only be tennis.
Okay. At one point in high school, you met a teacher that was involved in drugs.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Mr. Fisher. We played tennis together and we hung out together. I mean, he was really cool. And when I first got introduced to cocaine, I'd stopped hanging out with him, stopped calling him, and so forth. And then when I did go back around after a few months, he was like, "Where you been?" And I had enough love and admiration for him to be honest with him. And I told him that I got involved with cocaine.
Now, when you got involved in cocaine, in what way?
I started selling.
Okay. Were you using it all?
At that time, I never used. I never used it.
What kept you from using it, being around it?
Well, like I said, I was a tennis player.
Okay.
I was an athlete. And, athletes are not supposed to use drugs. They're supposed to run, exercise, and be as fit as they can be.
Okay.
Well, that was my mentality. Even when I started selling drugs, I still wanted to be fit, because when I first started selling drugs, it wasn't going to be a career.
Just a side hustle.
Well, a quick fix,
Yeah.
Fix my car, give me some tennis lessons, give me some new rackets, pay for a few lessons. My life is right. Now I'm back to my tennis.
He tried as much as he could, but he couldn't make it. But we pretty much knew that it was a slim chance that he was gonna make it in the short time that we made this project. So we just kept moving, and it's us four on there.
A heterosexual man doesn't mind planting seeds of being gay in your mind, of himself, just in order to propel himself with popularity and money
Do you know who does this?
in this society.
Do you know who else does this?
Who?
Daylight.
Ah,